I hear people ask, what is an entrepreneurial mindset? Do I have it? Can I be an entrepreneur? Look, let's look at this rationally. Prior to industrialization, when we invented these gigantic companies where everyone had specialized jobs, everyone was an entrepreneur. You would have a skill, you would take that skill and find someone to pay you for it, or you would develop a product and find someone to pay you for it. So entrepreneurship is something that not only do we all have the capacity for, it used to be the norm. Everyone did it. It's only been since we've started to specialize that people are assuming that, oh, being an entrepreneur is also specialized. Well, some people do it and some people don't, and some people like doing it and some people don't. But anyone can learn to do it. There are two major phases to an entrepreneurial enterprise. In phase one, it's the building phase. Then this is the phase where you're searching for what the business is. You're looking for, do you have a market that you can reach? Does that market have a need that you can fulfill? Do you have a product or service that fulfills that need? And very importantly, for this to be a business, does it all fit together in a way where you can deliver that product or service for less money than people are willing to pay? Because if not, then you don't have a business there. So phase one of entrepreneurship is finding the model that works, finding the marketing model and finding the operation model. Then phase two of entrepreneurship is scaling. So in phase one, you found the thing that works. You found the market, you found the product, you found the way of producing it. Then in phase two, you systematize that. You do it over and over and over. You do it on a grander and grander scale. Maybe you start off by doing it in one place and then another place. Then you do it bigger and bigger. And before you know it, you have scaled your organization to be much, much larger. But scaling requires a different set of skills and a different mindset than the first part, which is finding all the stuff that works in the first place. Today, we're going to talk about finding the stuff that works in the first place, because there is a particular mindset that goes along with that. The first part of entrepreneurship is characterized by not knowing. You just don't know, and you can't predict what's going to work and what isn't. Professor Saras Sarasvathy of the Darden School of Business did a lot of research with serial entrepreneurs to uncover how successful serial entrepreneurs navigate this period of complete unpredictability and unknowability. There are 5 major principles that underlie the way to navigate any situation, in this case, a business and entrepreneurial situation, where you don't know, you don't even know what you don't know, and there's no real way to find out. Principle number 1 is pilot in plane. Sure, we could all ride in a plane that has nothing but an autopilot, but we feel more comfortable if there's a pilot in the plane. Why? Because if something goes wrong, the human pilot can exercise the judgment to take corrective action. This turns out to be critical in entrepreneurship as well. A lot of people, especially in big corporations, they look out into the world, they project trends, they create pro formas, and they attempt to predict the future. But in an entrepreneurial environment where you're doing something that hasn't been done before, in a place that hasn't been done before, you don't really have anything on which to base your predictions except making stuff up. So instead, you rely on the idea that you're the pilot in the entrepreneurial plane. And what that means is it's not about you predicting the future and figuring out how to fit into it. It's about you making the future happen in the way that you want to. So mindset number 1, pilot and plane, is you are in control of destiny. You may not be able to get the outcome you want, but you can make corrective action, you can observe things, you can learn in such a way that instead of asking, where is everything going and can I ride along with it? What you ask is, where is everything going and can I direct it? And can I actually create the future that I want instead of relying on having that future just happen to come to pass? Principle number 2 is called bird in the hand. It turns out that you already have resources at your disposal. You have skills, you have a network, you may have money, you may have assets, maybe you own a house. It's the skills that you have at hand that you're going to have to work with when you begin your entrepreneurial venture. Why? Because that's all you have. Now, you might want to go out and pursue other ones, but when you're in this discovery phase, you need to take careful stock of what it is that you have and what it is that you're working with, because that's going to be the raw material that you create whatever success you're going to create. Principle number 3 is lemonade. If life gives you lemons, make lemonade. When you're in this place of not knowing in the first part of the entrepreneurial journey, you don't know what's going to succeed. You don't know what isn't. A lot of times, things that seem like setbacks may in fact end up giving you the advantage you need or the insight you need to find the thing that's going to work. So when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And what's even more powerful about that is other people may not even be able to figure out how to make the lemonade. So if you can really find a way that uniquely puts a spin on something that would seem to be an obstacle, that may end up being your actual advantage. Principle number 4 is crazy quilt. Crazy quilt says that in the beginning, there's just you, and then maybe you and a couple of friends. Crazy Quilt says that the shape of what you end up creating is not necessarily something you can predict in advance. It's going to be a patchwork of the relationships that you build and the interdependencies that you build. And again, you can't figure it out in advance. But what the principle is network, network, network. Get to know people, find customers, find investors, if you can, find colleagues, find people who can donate work or do work or swap work, whatever. But what you want to do is create your business in conjunction with a whole host of other co-creators, people who are equally committed to the vision. And there's some subtlety to this about you often end up changing your direction based upon who's involved, what they bring to the table, and what they need out of the situation. But the idea is you're going to be creating you're going to be creating a quasi quilt you're going to be creating a patchwork of relationships and people and resources, which are going to turn into the business that you're creating. The 5th principle is one called affordable loss. This is actually my favorite principle of all of them because it's the flip side of how a lot of people start off companies. A lot of people start off saying, how much money are we going to need? Let's raise the money and then let's move forward. The problem with this is they're raising the money in the middle of all this uncertainty. So everything is just a guess. With affordable loss, what you say, and this is the thing that relieves all of the stress of entrepreneurship. With affordable loss, you say, how much time, money, and reputation and opportunity cost am I willing to sacrifice completely with no expectation of any return whatsoever? But I'm willing to spend that to take whatever my enterprise is one more step. And usually it's a step about learning. So for example, you might say, you know what? I'm willing to put $1,000 into this idea to see if I can make a sale. And you now have a $1,000 budget and you get to make a sale. Now, there's 2 powerful things about affordable loss. Number 1 is it limits your risk to only what you're willing to lose. So there is no stress that, oh my gosh, I'll lose everything, which there might be if you just raised $10 million and now you're on the hook for delivering on that. But with affordable loss, you stay in your comfort zone at all times. And 2 is it forces you to be creative. If you only have $1,000, you're not going to be buying a Super Bowl commercial. So it's going to really make you like get down and dirty about what are the different ways that I have of being able to use $1,000. And again, you don't have to build the whole business on $1,000, but I'm going to use the $1,000 to get the next bit of learning that I need to get in order to know whether or not I should commit maybe $2,000 next time, etc. So what you're doing is you're doing rapid learning cycles, very much like the lean startup methodology, only this is more at the business level rather than the product development level. And those learning cycles, each one is designed so that you feel good about doing it, you're not afraid of loss, and it forces you to be creative and work within constraints, which just may turn into whatever your competitive advantage ends up being. Those are the 5 principles of successful serial entrepreneurs as supported by research. Principle number 1, pilot and plane. You're creating the future. You're not a victim of the future or at the mercy of the future. Principle number 2, bird in the hand. What you have to work with is your current asset base, your current relationships, your current money, etc. Know what that is because those are your tools. Principle number 3, lemonade. If life gives you lemons, make lemonade. So when things don't work, stop and use the way they're not working as preferably an advantage if you can use it directly, and if not as an advantage, at least as something to spur learning and spur creativity. Number 4 is crazy quilt. You're going to be not just creating your future, you're going to be co-creating it with all of the other people involved. And you may even change the direction of what you're doing on the basis of the partnerships it enables you to create or the people it enables you to get involved, so on and so forth. And principle number 5 is affordable loss. You cap the amount that you're willing to spend for your next learning cycle at the amount that you're willing to lose. It keeps you calm, it keeps you comfortable, it keeps you stress-free, and it also forces you to be creative so that you can find ways to run a business that automatically has a functioning operational model that's going to produce a profit. Those, my friends, are the 5 mindsets of an entrepreneur.